Well, because of new state regulations on kindergarten to 12th grade education, Chinese tutoring institutions have had to adapt its business model and target market to other sectors. And these are lifelong education and technical education for adults. In 2020, the market size of comprehensive lifelong education in China was estimated at around 162.5 billion yuan, or about 25 billion US dollars. And the online share of this market was estimated at around 66.8 billion yuan that year. And according to iResearch, China's lifelong education industry has 430 million potential users, and that number is expected to expand to 680 by 2023. In July this year, over 60% of job seekers still expected to stay in the education and tutoring industry, up from 57.7% in March. And in the first half of 2021, 38 financing deals were made for vocational education, totaling more than 5 billion yuan. And most of the investments went into vocational skills training. And now let's discuss some more about this. I'm pleased to be joined by my guest, Wei Jun, assistant professor at Tsinghua University's Institute of Education. Great to have you with us, Professor Wei, on China 24. The reforms in the education sector have seen institutions make a huge shift from the K-12 curriculum tutoring to other sectors, namely lifelong learning and vocational training. What is the impact of this shift on China's education market?
Good evening, host. I think such transformation would no doubt promote the prosperity and competitiveness of China's adult education market. As our country's industries are upgrading and the economy is growing at a fast speed, there is and will be great market demands on the technical talents in many occasional fields. As we have witnessed, the vocational education trainings have already been very hot in recent years. Like the IT programmer training have cultivated a great number of technical talents for the IT industry. And some family education training programs have also come out in recent years, which reflects that the market is also being diversified due to people's changing needs, and the vocational education system is becoming more and more complete. As we know, this year, before the double reduction policy came out, our country has already released a series of policies aimed at promoting the vocational education in the future, which means there is relatively much smaller policy risks for getting involved in the vocational education market in China in the near future. But such move would, on the other hand, make the market more competitive.
And now, Professor, let me also ask you this. A large number of people aged 20 to 35 choose to improve their professional skills through further study to enhance their competitiveness when landing a job. What future trends do you see for the lifelong education market here in China?
I think the aforementioned vocational education is actually a part of the lifelong education, which also includes the preschool education, the postgraduate education, and in-service education, and so forth. So I think the developmental trend of lifelong education in China is unstoppable in the next few decades, which is also consistent with the global trend for educational development. So the lifelong education market would also be growing fast in the future. So for instance, as compared to developed countries, the number of postgraduates in our country is growing at an amazing speed. But the proportion of postgraduates in the entire population is still very small, and there is large room for the further development. And as the society advances, people's concepts about the education is also developing, changing from the education is for better life to education is part of a good life, which means receiving education is not only for meeting vocational needs, but is also a basic need for quality life. And with the help of educational technologies, people would have more access to affluent educational resources. So in the future, we would learn whenever and wherever we want. Thank you.
It's never too late to learn. Thank you so much for your analysis, Professor Wei Jun. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.